back, everybody, to the SmallTown Collectibles YouTube channel. I'm Jimmy Don Kerr. My guest today is a guy whose family I just joined. I literally, like 2 weeks ago, joined this guy's family. And he's got a great channel. You'll find all kinds of stuff on there. My favorite thing is the family chat that they have on Thursday nights. But you'll find some spec information, some flea market searches, just all kinds of stuff. So I want everybody to join me in welcoming to 10 Questions Steve from the Berk Family 54 Comics YouTube channel.
What's up, man? How's it going? I'm glad to be here to talk comic books and just hang out and do these 10 questions I keep seeing you do with all these other YouTubers. This is going to be a fun time.
Cool, man. I really appreciate you coming on. I've actually followed your channel for some time, and I just kind of made the commitment to join the family, and I'm excited to have you on and get to know you just a little bit better. So, Steve, question one is it's the same question I ask everybody that comes on 10 questions, and like, what or who got you into collecting?
Oh man, collecting comic books. I would say I always tell this story. I was at my work. I used to before I had the job that I have now. I used to work at Ace Hardware. My parents owned an Ace Hardware, and I was a manager there. And I was upstairs. I was supposed to be doing work, and I wasn't doing work. I was on Yahoo.com just because I sometimes like to go on there and just look at articles, stories, whatever. And they had this article that showed all of these Power Ranger helmet covers for issue 0 of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers that just came out, and how it was like the hottest thing right now. And I was like, whoa. Those are awesome, because I remember watching Power Rangers as a kid. I was 5 years old when the first season came out, and I was a huge, huge Power Rangers fan. So I saw that on there, and then right below that, they talked about how the Batman TMNT crossover, like how well it was doing. And I was like, holy cow, I guess I need to go try out these comic books because these look pretty cool. So I went over to my comic book store that's no longer there, and I bought 2 different covers for issue 0 of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the Red Ranger and Black Ranger, and then I bought issue 2 of Batman TMNT, and I went back to my store because I didn't have number 1 anymore. I went back to the store and I got online really quick and I ordered up issue 1, so I had issue 1 and 2 so I could start reading them. And I read them and I was blown away about how good they are. Freddie E. Williams does the art on Batman TMNT, and he's a local Kansas guy. And I believe it's written by James Tynion IV as well, the Batman TMNT series. And then Kyle Higgins was the writer for Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. So those books are kind of what got me into reading and collecting comic books.
Cool. So, like, you were a little older then. Did you collect anything when you were a kid? Was like collecting just part of your nature?
Okay, so that was 5.5 years ago. And so I did read comic books as a kid. We would go to the grocery store, and they had a magazine comic book aisle, and my mom would go get her groceries, and I would go over there, and I would grab the comic books, and I would sit down in the aisle, and I'd read them, which I'm sure I just looked at the pictures. I don't know if I was old enough to read it yet. And I remember the very first comic book that I remember like reading or looking at was Batman 497, where Bane breaks Batman's back.
Sure.
So I remember looking at those and reading those, but we never bought them. I did do karate or taekwondo, and right down I did taekwondo because of Power Rangers. And then right down the way in the same shopping center was a comic book store, and we used to go there, and we'd never buy anything because my parents thought comic books were stupid. And but I remember sometimes I'd go in there all the time that he finally gave me some free ones, which they were trash free ones. But outside of collecting comic books, I do collect some sports memorabilia, just like you. I don't show this very often, so I'm going to move my camera really quick. I have a whole bunch of K-State stuff right there.
Nice.
I have some signed game ball and some helmets and some rookie cards and a whole bunch of just K-State stuff. I have the March Madness one signed by the 2018 K-State Wildcats team that went to the Elite Eight. So
beat Kentucky.
You know what though? That was the first time K-State had beat Kentucky in 10 tries. I didn't know if you knew that or not.
I did know, and we were also devastated, because we weren't sure about that particular team, and it had been a few years. It had been a couple years since we'd been to the Final Four, and that bracket is the one that blew up, right? That was the bracket that blew up, and
it did.
was it Loyola Chicago, or Sister
Loyola
Jean,
Chicago advanced to the Final Four out of all of us. Yeah,
and that was Sister Jean or whoever it was, like those the sister there.
I don't want to talk about her at all.
But no, I remember that well because we thought, okay, because we weren't sure about that team. And so we thought, okay, this bracket's opened up. We can make it. And then ran into a freaking buzzsaws with K-State. So I think that's cool, though, because I collect Kentucky memorabilia, like outside of comic books, and I collect a lot of Kentucky autographs.
Right.
Guys that are in the league, because we have a ton of them right now. I think there's 32.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's cool, man. So, so it sounds like to me, as far as really getting into the game, as far as collecting, really just kind of happened for you 5-6 years ago.
Yeah.
What was it? Because I know you're a big Power Rangers fan, and we'll talk a little bit later about your variant book and things like that. Is that what drew you to the Power Rangers, or did you watch the Power Rangers as a kid?
So I watched Power Rangers as a kid. I remember watching the very first episode, and a lot of people don't know this, but my favorite Ranger is obviously the Green Ranger, but he was not like a part of the original team. He came like 30 episodes later. So I watched from the beginning until he joined the series, and I loved it. But as soon as the Green Ranger came on, I was like, okay, that's my guy, because he was able to take out like the whole team by himself. Then he finally became a good guy too, and then later became the White Ranger. He was always just like a special ranger. And so I really like the TV show. So that is what kind of drew me in to the Rangers comic book series. And I remember I was like, okay, I clicked on the thing where it talked about issue 0 Power Rangers coming out. And I wanted to make sure that the Green Ranger was in it, because the Green Ranger is my favorite. And it talked about how the very first, I don't know, like 9-10 issues deals with his first year after he joined the team, and how the effects of being under Rita's spell will play out in the books. And I was super excited about that. So that is another reason why I grabbed it as well.
Awesome. That's great. I love that, man. All right. So question 2. So you kind of find this love for comics. What led you to the YouTube channel?
So that is a great question. Okay. So I was going every Wednesday, just like probably everyone does. Like you go to the comic book store, you wait outside for 15 minutes, you wait until you see the on light on, and then you go in. And so I would do that for, I don't know, like a year. Like I want to say it was almost 2 years or so I was doing that. And I remember watching some like YouTube videos and whatnot. And I was really looking for like a space for me to find someone to talk to about it, because comic books people, and overall just in general, like collectors, we don't really have anyone, like especially in Kansas where I live, there's like no one really to talk to about what you do. Like sports fans like us, it's easy. Just get on like a sports fan website. There's thousands of people you can talk to about the latest game or new recruits or whatever. You don't really have that with comic book collecting. And so I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to start an Instagram so I can post my books and see everyone else's books, and I can start commenting and start making some friends there. And I started doing that. And then I saw some people always posting about, hey, I'm about to go live on my YouTube. Come check out my YouTube, like on all the stories and whatnot. And I'm like, okay, I'm finally going to go check this out, because I keep seeing this guy posting on his Instagram. I'm going to go check out his YouTube. And it was Matt Thanatos. He was hanging out Reggie Collects. Before Reggie got huge, honestly, this was like, I want to say he only had like 1,200 subscribers at the time. And so like, I remember when he did his live stream, he was doing it from his kitchen or something. And Matt Thanatos, he's still a good dude. He doesn't post very much anymore. But they were just hanging out, talking comic books, showing it off. And I remember everyone hanging out in the chat, which they always do in YouTube videos. I was like, man, this is a lot of fun. So I would start watching everyone else's. And John's Comics for Kids, he's like, dude, you should make your first YouTube video, because you're really into it, and I think you would enjoy it. And I decided to go ahead and do it in, I think it was January 2nd or 3rd of 2019. And I had 8 subscribers at the very beginning, and now I have 2,150 subscribers. And I never would have thought I would be at where I'm at. And it's just crazy, and I've really enjoyed, being where I'm at versus where I used to be at. So I don't know. It's a lot of fun.
Well, let's talk. Okay, so question 3, and let's kind of talk about this a little bit. Like, it was 2019. You started. You have 8 subscribers. Now you're at 2,000. You know, you've reached the 1,000 goal milestone that I'm currently, searching for right now. Like, what tips can you give people about, or can you explain how you got to 2,000? I don't know a really good way to say that, but like, what were the keys, do you think, to getting you there?
Okay, so I would definitely say a huge key is posting consistent content. Like if you look at a lot of the big YouTube channels, like they post almost daily. And I mean, sometimes they post multiple times a day. I mean, if you look at Reggie Collects, he posts almost every day. And if he doesn't post a video, he goes live. You know what I mean? And I think he does it like 5 to 7 times a week. And I was like, you know what? I need to start being more consistent. During the pandemic last year, right when it started, when I was working from home, I was like, you know what? I'm going to start taking this YouTube game more seriously. And I already had the YouTube for about a year and a half at that point. And I was like, I need to start taking this more seriously. And I had all the time in the world being at home all the time. And so I started posting one video per day. And that started helping out a lot. But what really started helping out is that I started looking at what are some of the other videos that people are posting that do well in terms of views. And I decided, you know what, I'm going to start making some of those as well. Because we'll talk about this later. I have a certain job where I create things. And I was at like a seminar one time, and they talked about how good creators, designers, borrow, great ones steal. And so I still remember that. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to go start making some of these videos, these invest in videos, or these top 10 lists and whatnot. And those started generating a lot more views. Views generate subs. Subs generate more, people watching your channel, and they'll start talking to your friends about your channel. And it really worked. In less than a year, I went up like 1,300 subscribers. In all of 2020, I went up like 1,350 subscribers from doing a video every single day, or almost every day, and doing other videos that other people were already going to watch, but now they're watching it on my channel. So my tips would definitely be to try to do more consistent content and try to do videos that other people are doing that get a lot of views, as long as it's something that you like. Like I always throw up videos that I like to do that do not get a lot of views. Like I always do like videos on like a preview of Power Rangers book, or something that I really enjoy. And a lot of times, even at 2,000 subscribers, I'll get like less than 200 views. And that's okay, because I still really enjoy doing it, because sometimes I don't always enjoy doing the videos that get a ton of views. So it's kind of like a give and take, you know what I mean? So that would be my suggestion.
Okay, cool. So what about any missteps? I mean, so that would be question question 4 is any missteps that you've made that you could say, hey, don't do this, Jimmy. If you're trying to build to 1,000 subscribers, don't do this.
My suggestion for things to not do would probably be like short videos, anything under 3 minutes. I remember when I first started my channel, over the first year, I was trying all sorts of things. I didn't know what I was doing, you know what I mean? And I remember, people post those on Instagram, their Instagram tag of the day: Mutant Monday, Top Variant Tuesday, Wolverine Wednesday, Thor's Day Thursday, something like, First Appearance Friday. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna start making a video like that every single day, and people are gonna watch it. No one watched it. When I say no one watched it, I mean I got like 30 views or less on some of these videos, and I did it for like 2 or 3 weeks straight. And I'm like, okay, I need to try something different, because that is not working. People don't like short videos. People don't like something they can just see an Instagram tag. People want something interesting, and they want to hear your opinion as well. So I would definitely say short videos, and like just trying new things. Sometimes they don't always work, for sure.
I know I have, I played around with different things, since I started mine. I think I started mine in like June of last year. It was sometime around then. And I've tried, like you said, I've tried things that I really like to do. Those don't necessarily always work, but sometimes I'll do them just because I want to, because it's fun. But I pay a lot of attention to my analytics and what's working, what's not, and I try to scrap things when they aren't working. Do you do something similar?
I do. So I used to do it was like a Monday night or Tuesday night live stream where I had a new person on every single week. and I would just hang out with them and just talk comic books. And a lot of times it was like a low channel that had like less than 100 subscribers. And like at first people were excited about it. Everyone wanted to be on it. And I was getting like 200 plus views on these live streams. And I was like, man, this is really going good. But after like 4 or 5 episodes, it was not going good because a lot of times these are channels that no one's ever heard of. If people want to watch something like that, they'd rather watch someone that they know. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And I was already doing a live stream on Thursdays, and I've kind of went away from live streams outside of my Thursday night chat just because it doesn't have a lot of playback. Like in terms of like a lot of people don't watch the rewind of it. They can watch an 8-minute or 10-minute or 12-minute video over and over and over. A lot of people would rather click on that versus a 2-hour live stream. 2-hour, like the live streams are great. I would say live streams are better for your subscribers, while recorded videos are going to get you more subscribers, if that makes sense.
No, that makes total sense.
So that's why I don't know if you've noticed, I've kind of went away from live streams. I only do just that one where I just come on, hang out with my friends, talk comic books, and review them and whatnot. So I only really do that like once a week.
I enjoy the live stream from you guys, and I plan on trying to jump on one night as soon as my schedule settles down because I like to talk about the new releases, the things that come out, and kind of discuss those. And I like to, and most of the time I've read the books that you guys are talking about. And so it's interesting for me to sit and listen to everybody's take on the books. And you've got some really great people in the family that are very knowledgeable about comic books and have the ability to express what they've read and all that. And so it's a lot of fun. So question 5 is like, how did you? And I've always wondered this about your channel. Okay, so like, how did you come up with the name Berk Family 54? And here's the question: is like, did you have that much insight or foresight to say, okay, I'm going to build a family, on YouTube?
No.
And okay, so how did you get there?
Okay, so here's what happened. Okay, when I was in college, and I'm going to tell the whole story, so this might be a couple minutes.
Bring it.
When I was in college, I was dating my wife, and we would obviously hang out. We'd go to parties, and for some reason, I used to always say like when something was really cool, because I'm old now. Back in the day, like 12, 15 years ago, I'd always say, "Oh, that's sick nasty." And someone at a party, and I think it was my wife, said, "Oh, we should call you Berk Nasty." Everyone started calling me Berk Nasty, and I was like, I kind of like it, as a 22-year-old, 20-year-old.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's cool. That's a really cool nickname. And so I remember one day I was trying to get on my eBay page to start selling stuff. I don't remember what I was selling, but I couldn't get in. So I created a brand new one, and I called it Berk Nasty 54. And the 54 comes from my grandpa. That was his high school football number. My grandpa and I were like best friends. Like he took me to all the K-State football games. I remember him taking me to K-State Nebraska games, which back in the day, those were huge games for football. And I just he was always like a fatherly figure to me. So 54 was his high school number. That was the year that he graduated high school. When I became a senior, that was my high school number that I chose because of him. So the 54 was the number that I decided to go with there. So when I decided to create my Instagram and YouTube, I went with Berk Nasty 54 Comics. And after a while, I started growing it a little bit more, and I got to like 300 or so. And I was like, oh man, everyone is like saying, "What's up, Nasty? Let's get nasty." And I'm like, oh man, that is not the image that I want, especially as a father and as having the job that I have. And I was like, you know what? I need to change this. And so I was talking to JB from Discovery Bay. I'm like, what name can I change it to? Because I don't want to change it too much where people don't recognize me. But I also want it to be like Nasty. The name Berk Nasty gives off a negative connotation. So I was like, what can I go with? And he suggested Berk Family 54 Comics. And I was like, that's a great idea because I like to have my wife on. I like to have my daughter on. I like that the name family means that anyone in a family, whether it's a young kid or a parent or a whole family, can watch my channel and feel connected. Like I try not to say any bad words ever in my videos or during my live streams. Other people do, but I try not to have that on my channel just because I want it to be, I want anyone to feel like they can watch it And I remember when I got to 1,000 subscribers, I was talking to Adrian Pandawson 316. I was like, man, I need to start a YouTube channel membership. What should I go with? He goes, I don't know, man. And I was like thinking, I was like, what if I went with supporter, friend, and family, so they feel like they're connected and joined in the Berk family? He goes, dude, that's a great idea. And so that's when that's how it all kind of came about from beginning to end. That's how I came up with the name Berk Family, and I felt like it's actually really stuck well, and people feel connected using the name family and being a family tier channel member.
Oh, I love it. I mean, it's good to hear that story, though, because I kind of thought you were a genius. I was like, is this guy, did he have this much foresight
No.
to say? Because it is what you just said, though, is so true. Because when I decided to join, I felt like I was part of the family. You know, like I've become part, like a lot of these guys, I say this on here all the time, is I fell into this group of people that I didn't even know that I needed. Like I had this big hole in me, apparently, that needed filled, and I didn't know. Because this has given me so much joy. And the people that I've gotten to know, from you to DJ Links to Gary B to Slotted Up to Alan May to Panda Awesome to Remy Q, Market Legion, all these people. And I was like, dude, and that is really why I joined the family. I was like, man, this is my family. I got to get in here, and it was, I don't know. I think it's great. And I think there is a bit of genius to the name in that that's what this community is it's one big giant family.
Absolutely. It really is. And, I've made a ton of friends along the way, and I didn't realize how much I also needed you guys as well. I had a lot of friends, and I honestly, I remember when I made the channel membership, I was like, no one's going to join this. No one likes me that much. And I started getting one, and I started getting two. And then all of a sudden I had 8 to 10. And now I want to say I have 25 total channel members, and I never would have guessed it. Like I said, going back when I first started, 8 subscribers, and now I have 25 channel members. I never would have thought I'd be at where I'm at. And I never knew how much I needed that as well, for people to talk to and come hang out. Our Berk Family 54 Comics Instagram chat is off the chain.
Yes, it is.
Oh my God. All day long, every single day. I don't have a single other group chat that I'm in that is like that. It's amazing. And like I said, I didn't realize how much I needed you guys too. And I really, really appreciate anyone who ever has supported my channel, and obviously anyone who's part of my Berk Family channel membership as well.
I say this all the time. I think, and I haven't said it yet in the chat, but I mean, I'm not joking. It'll be 9:30 in the morning, and that chat will be blowing up. I mean, people be talking back and forth, and I just want to say, do you people have a job? I'm at work, and I'm like, do you people have a job? Because my phone's just going nuts.
Sure.
And I'm like, how do you afford to buy all these comic books? I don't know, but it is great. There's a lot of cool guys in that chat, and I dig it. So
here's a tip really quick. I turned off my notifications on Instagram.
Oh, no, I had to after about 3 days.
I had to, because I was getting them all the time too, not just from that chat, but anyone in general, anyone liking my posts. I was like, I cannot have this on, especially with my job. So I definitely understand what you're saying.
So let's get into your job. All right. So, and this is something, again, I've always kind of wondered about you. You are a teacher, and do your students know that you have a YouTube channel?
Yes, they do.
Do they follow it? Do they support it?
Yeah. So a lot of them, I would say 90%, 95%, they don't care. I tell them about it. I'm like, cool. You like comic books. Good for you. But it's a cool thing to talk about, a conversation piece and whatnot. And so if anyone doesn't know, I'm a high school teacher. I teach journalism. So I teach 21st century journalism, digital media technology, video production, photography 1 and 2, yearbook and newspaper. I'm the radio club sponsor. I do a lot of the stuff that I would do for my YouTube channel, but I do it as a job. I teach kids how to do that. I teach them how to create something. Cool. And it's a lot of fun for me to be able to show them, hey, this is what I learned when I was in college. And it is a good, cool conversation piece, because a lot of the kids, they ask me the same thing. They're like, hey, I want to grow my YouTube channel. How do I do it? Or something along those lines. And they're like, whoa, you got 2,000 subscribers? You're a big baller. Do you make any money? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, and I try to answer them truthfully and whatnot. And it is really cool. It is a lot of fun. And a lot of kids, some of them are actually into comic books. Actually, one of the kids that I had, he actually won one of my giveaways when I was back at like 400 subscribers or something like that. I remember bringing it to school and handing it to him. After that, I decided they have to be 18 or older to win. But it was, it's been fun. It's been cool. Some of my administrators and coworkers know about it as well. But I would still say, like, I think a lot of people that I work with or students that I have, if they know, they don't care. And a lot of them just don't know in general. Still, they probably all have their own things they're doing anyways. But I still enjoy talking about it with a few of the coworkers and students that I do have that I have good relationships with. So,
well, it's interesting that that's your job, because one of the things that I've been doing here, and everybody knows I live at the name of my channel is SmallTown. I live in this little small town, and our high school, the teacher who basically does what you do, we have been having conversations about their students taking those type of classes will work with me on my YouTube channel. And that will be part of their curriculum, is helping me come up with a commercial for the channel, like the intro video that are on a lot of people's pages. Essentially watching my videos and critiquing them and helping me edit and do different things. And like, we may build a course essentially out of their class based around my YouTube channel.
That'd be great.
And I think that would be cool, because I find that interesting, as far as what you're doing. Like, they just built us a brand new high school, and we literally have a studio. I mean, it's a studio. It's, where you've got the table, the green screen, you've got the actual lights, you've got the whole deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's cool, man.
That is cool. And part of my job too is especially during the last year when they've decided to not let parents at games, like, I've had to help out a lot more by like live streaming all the basketball games and all that stuff. And which kind of made me realize, like, man, we should have been doing this a long time ago. Like, we probably, as a district, I need to meet with the other high school teachers and that do the same job as me at the other schools. We probably need to come up with a sports reporting class where those kids, they like live stream all of the sporting events and they are commentators for it. Like, as much as I love doing it myself, I feel like the kids would enjoy doing it more. So I think that's something that I learned just this year. I'm like, man, we need to up our game a little bit more because people are watching it more. Like, we were live streaming it on Facebook and YouTube, and there was a ton of people watching it, and it was a lot of fun, and I think the kids would really enjoy it.
Same thing's happening here, except our kids do it. Our kids actually are the commentators for the game.
That's awesome.
Yeah, when they built the new high school, they put a camera in that moves with, this is basketball.
Oh, yeah.
But it moves with the flow, and they sit and commentate the games on YouTube, awesome. And it's part of their class. It's really, to be from such a small place, we are kind of next level when it comes to a lot of technology and things like that, because we ain't got nothing else to do. So it's, people are watching YouTube, they're doing those things, and the kids are pretty talented. My daughter at the middle school was basically the producer, host, all this of what they call Cardinal TV. And so the technology aspect of this whole thing is really neat. She actually helped me do it. That's why my videos got worse as I started rather than better, because she was doing all my videos at first.
I understand you there, man. I used to be the producer in college at obviously Kansas State. That's where I went to college for both my undergrad and my master's. We had a college program online and a 30-minute show as well. And I was the producer for the online sports show, which we talked about K-State football, K-State basketball, all of that stuff. We have someone joining us really quickly. Wanted to give me a hug. Hi, baby.
It's all good.
Hi, Daddy.
I'm doing a video right now. Do you want to go see Mom?
I saw Mommy.
Okay, well, go get your toys.
I don't want to play with my toys.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm doing a video right now, so can I see you in a little bit?
Sure, what?
Okay.
Yes.
You can have that. Take it. Sorry about that.
That's all right, man. The Berk family.
It is a Berk family.
You get the whole experience on 10 questions. That's what I'm talking about. That's great, man. I love it. And I have daughters. Do you have your kids? Do you have boys, girls?
I have just one child, and she's 6.
That's great.
So
that's awesome, man. Good deal. All right. So, and I kind of skipped over this question. And so this is kind of out of order as far as like the way I normally ask. I just got into the conversation and kind of skipped over this one. But is there a particular type of content that you prefer to make? Like as far as the talks that you do, like the main stuff, the things that work, is there a particular type of content that you prefer?
I think I think the one that I like creating the most is I think what everyone likes to do. I think unboxings is the most fun because you're finally getting to see what you ordered online, or seeing what else is maybe thrown in there as an A-OK. Like it's always fun to see those. And like I never have been into mystery boxes ever. I know that's DJ Links' thing, Wink Inc.'s thing, all of that Panda Awesome thing. Never really been into the mystery boxing, but I started doing that. I do a monthly $50 mystery box from the 616comics.com Patreon, which the 616comics.com is a channel channel sponsor and subscriber. And it's kind of fun seeing what's in there. Like I've really enjoyed that a lot more than I thought I would. So I'd say unboxings are definitely something that I really enjoy doing. And you didn't ask this, but I would say videos that I do not like doing. I used to do a weekly top picks for New Comic Book Day.
Mm-hmm.
I stopped doing that because it was so much work. And sometimes I'd get a ton of views and sometimes they wouldn't. And I'd be like, man, I spent 3 hours making that video and no one watched it. Or, I spent, 30 minutes making this video and everyone's watching. I need to start doing other things. And so many people do top picks for New Comic Book Day. So I stopped kind of doing that. I started doing kind of what Reggie does, where it's like kind of going away sometimes from what other people do, trying to be more unique about it, but I still do things that everyone else likes to do as well, like those top 10 videos and investing videos. So I don't know. I would say unboxings are definitely the most fun in terms of what I like.
I think unboxings are fun. Like I enjoy doing them. I've started to do like my, top 5 books for the week, just as something to do different than the mystery box. But I like it though, because it's something I do anyway. So I've kind of incorporated it into my channel as far as that goes. I don't know, because you're right. It is a ton of work. Like it is a lot of work, but I spend a lot of time really looking at what I'm going to buy the next week. I spend a lot of time. So I just kind of incorporated it into something for my channel. But I agree. It is a ton of work. It's probably the most work I do as far as in the video. Now, like 10 questions, I just get to sit down and have a conversation with somebody cool. Like it's fun.
Sure.
And, and then the unboxings are fun. But I'm trying to experiment with different content. And it's interesting because I never considered myself a creative at all. But it's interesting trying to sit down and figure out different ways to be creative.
It really is. And like what I try to do is like I try to make a list of videos that I want to create. And I try to go through them like, okay, which one of these do I think would get the most views? And then sometimes it's all about the title too. Because like I unboxed some Department of Truth covers that I got in an auction from Tulp Fiction, who's a member as well of my channel. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, if I say Department of Truth unboxing or unboxing some comics, it's not gonna get as much views if I throw in like I just bought a bunch of spec books, because it's kind of a spec book, obviously, with the TV and film coming. And I went from like, I would say regular unboxings get around 200 to 300 views to 700 views just by changing the title and changing what I put in the thumbnail. So it's all about, even though like some of the videos are the same, the title and thumbnail matter just as much as the content in the video. So
absolutely. All right, so let's kind of change gears just a little bit.
Okay.
Talk a little more about the comic book community itself. And this is a question. The first time I asked it was to Reggie Collects, but I liked the question, and so I wanted to kind of see what you thought as well. So question 8 is, what do you believe is the single biggest challenge to comic book collectors today?
I would say inflation and speculation. Because like I remember it was 2 or 3 years ago, I was at a Comic-Con and there was a 9.6 or a 9.8 Hulk 181 and it was $10,000. And I was like, that's a ton of money for that book, right? And now a 9.6 or 9.8 of that book is like 40 grand.
Yep.
And like any sort of like itty bitty news will make a book skyrocket. Like I remember just a couple months ago, New Mutants 98 and a 9.8 was like all the way down to like $800 or $900, and now that book is a $3,000 book again. Like, I would say, it's kind of like the stock market. It's like, how do you know when to buy a book when it's already seems expensive? Because then that book will just go up even higher. Like I have I don't think I have it on the wall right now. I have a Ultimate Fallout 4, which is the first appearance of Miles Morales. I bought it in a 9.4. at $135 shipped to my house. before the book really went up because I really liked the character. And I remember looking at the ad. I'm like, that book looks a lot better than that. So I got it here. After a while, I sent it to my presser, comicbook_press on Instagram, which is a channel sponsor. Had him crack it. I resubmitted to CGC and went up from a 9.4 to a 9.6. After like everything, I'm like $200 into that book, and at a 9.6 just recently, a 9.6 is going for like $1,000.
I know, it's crazy.
It's crazy, right? Like it's like it almost seems like a lot of these books, even modern books, are almost unattainable when I don't feel like they should be. And I don't know. Inflation is a part of that, and speculation is also a part of that. That's why sometimes I make those videos. It's like, okay, hey, this book is spiking right now. You should still maybe try to invest in it, even though it's already expensive, because that book could get even more expensive. Like Ultimate Fallout 4 at a 9.8 now is $3,000. Just a couple months ago, it was $1,000, and people already said that was way too high because it was there for 6 months. But if people would have got it at $1,000 versus now, and if they wanted to sell it, they would have made a ton of money. So it's like you never know where a book is going to go. So inflation is definitely part of it. Speculation is part of it as well. It's tough because it's like when should I get a book? You just don't know.
Yeah, it is. It's really hard to determine that because you're right. You think a book at $800 is expensive. You're like, I don't want to buy that. And then next thing you know, it's $3,000, and you're like, geez, I should have bought that book at $800.
Right?
Yeah, and it's it's crazy. I said that is. I mean, but I do believe too, though, that COVID, with the combination of some new movies coming out and with Disney Plus and things like that, are kind of you're seeing things pop. But I believe everything is cyclical. And I think everything kind of, it'll eventually cycle back out where all those books will come back down to an affordable price, and then they'll go back up. I think that's just how it goes.
Sure, and that's how I feel about TMNT, because I've always been a Ninja Turtles fan. I actually liked them before I liked Power Rangers, and like I was able to get a Raphael #1 for $40 or $45 shipped to my house a couple years ago, and now that book is like in the grade that it is, because I got it signed and graded in a 9.2. Now the book is like $1,500. Like, I'm glad I bought it when I did, but at the same time, I wish I would have got a TMNT 1 at that point versus what it is now. So I'm kind of waiting for the last Ronin to end because I do feel like those books probably will go down. So.
Yeah, I agree. All right, so question 9. You have your own variant comic book. And so you have a copy there with you, which you can show?
Yeah, I do. I got it right here. So this
cool.
is Mighty Morphin #4. I don't know if you want to hear about it that much, guys.
I do, yeah, absolutely.
Mighty Morphin #4. It is the reveal of the new Green Ranger, and I work with the 616comics.com and Joel's Are Collectibles, and I was able to get my logo on the back there. Unfortunately, my name is not listed on the inside of the book due to an editorial error, but still I have my logo on the back of this awesome version cover by Hal Laren featuring the new Green Ranger, which a lot of people don't know. There's actually a different Green Ranger than the Green Ranger from the show. The Green Ranger from the show became the White Ranger, and there is a White Ranger, Tommy Oliver, that's in the current series. But they brought in a brand new character from a couple years ago. He was just in the comic books. His name's Matthew Cook. He was Kim's girlfriend before Tommy. And so the team just found out in issue 4 in this book who it is. And so going forward, there's going to be some dynamics to that. Like Tommy's not going to like that his girlfriend's ex-boyfriend is the new Green Ranger. And I think there'll be some interesting concepts to that. But I was super stoked to get my logo on the back of this. Like more than super stoked. Like it's a dream come true. Like I did a live stream last year with Karate Kevin Superpower Review about things that I wanted to accomplish over the next year or so. And I've accomplished every single thing on that list already. And I did not think I was going to do that. Like I was able to get sponsors, able to work on an online retailer, get my own variant, have channel members. I didn't think I was going to get any of those. But you know what? Relationships matter. And I worked at Simple Man's Comics, which everyone knows. They have like 22,000 subscribers. They are the ones who hooked me up with the 616comics.com to be able to make this happen. John, the owner there, was able to make this happen. And I am super, super stoked. Never would have thought I'd have my logo on the back of not just a comic book, but of a mainstream comic book that I really, really love and care about.
That's awesome, dude. Like, I mean, no, I mean, like, kind of like goals that you set for yourself. Like, for example, Jim Mintz got his new one coming out, that his daughter actually did the art on. And that was one of the things I asked him when I did 10 questions with him. And I'm definitely going to grab that because she is super talented. But what was the process like? Like, how did that even come about that you had the opportunity to get your logo on a book, especially a Power Rangers book?
Okay, so like I said, I started working with Simple Man's Comics, and they were the ones that started working at the 616comics.com to create some variants because it's a new company over the last year or two. And they're like, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to get a couple of these other channels to promote these books that are coming out. And then we're going to promote them on our channel too. So you get all these different webs of people that could see it. So myself and Two Brothers Comics were working with them. And Two Brothers Comics does a lot of indies or other books. And I do just mainly Power Rangers or TMNT books. And I was able to announce those. And when I first started working with the 616comics.com, I was like, hey, at some point I would love it if I could get my logo on the back. I was just throwing it out there.
Yeah.
Never thinking that it would actually happen. And he said, yeah, we can do that sometime. I'm like, okay, that's cool. He said, yes, right now, but we'll see if it actually happens. And you know what? It did. When I knew that issue 4 was going to be huge, he knew issue 4 was going to be huge. He decided to do an extra variant for the 616comics.com because he has one. I don't know if I have it right here or not. I don't. He did one that he does with Untitled Collectibles, and they decided to do an extra variant because they knew it was going to be a big issue because it was the reveal of the new Green Ranger. And he was asking me, he's like, what do you want on the cover? And I said, well, I would love to see what Hal Laren could do with the Green Ranger because I've seen him do a lot of covers for the 616 Comics, and I've only seen him do one Power Rangers cover before, and it was of the Ranger Slayer. And it was a sick cover for Drac and New Dawn #2. And I was like, man, I really want to see what he could do with the new Green Ranger. So they were able to contact him and tell him, hey, we want to see the new Green Ranger on there. And John from the 616comics.com gave him the idea of flying up. And so it was kind of like a mixture of both of us coming up with the idea of having a new Green Ranger on there. Obviously, we wanted him on the cover when it's a reveal of who it is, and we knew it was going to be a big issue. So that is kind of like what happened. I started working with him, shot my shot, and he said yes. And then he asked me what I wanted to see, and that's what we got. So
that's awesome, dude.
I was pretty stoked. I was pretty stoked to see it. And when I finally was able to hold this in my hand and then look on the back to see my logo, like it was like I almost cried. Like you could ask my wife. Like a big box came of all the variants that I ordered, and I opened it up and I about cried when I saw it. Like I still can't believe that it actually happened. So
that's awesome, brother. Like I said, really, you think about it. You see different people like Reggie Collects has a variant, all these different people. And the fact that you've got a variant comic book, like I said, a mainstream variant comic book with your logo on it, dude, it's sweet. Like, I think that's great, man. I love it. And I would cry too. I would think that would be awesome. But I'm getting really emotional in my older age. So I don't know what happened to me. I used to be pretty hard.
I cry a lot more. Like I cried when my wife and I got married. I cried when the Royals won the World Series. Like, NCAA never wins a championship. I'm crying like a baby.
Oh, I hear you, brother. I hear you. All right, so last question 10. And this is what everybody's talking about. And I got you on here, so I'm going to ask you. Okay. What did you think about the Snyder Cut?
Oh, dude. Okay. So I loved it. I
loved it too.
It was amazing. The first 30 minutes, I was like, what am I watching? But I had to watch it over like 4 different parts because it's so long. And I wanted to make sure I was able to watch it that night on Thursday Night Chat, and it came out on Thursday, but I had to work on Thursday. But I absolutely loved it. Every single thing, especially 2 particular scenes. The first scene where Darkseid comes to Earth the first time, and all of Earth, Atlanteans, Amazons, and all of the Earth's fighters are all fighting against him. We see Zeus, Ares, all of that. That was amazing.
That was amazing.
I thought that was going to be my favorite scene until we get to the last fight scene where they actually, spoiler alert, lose, but the Flash, who is actually a lot more likable in this cut than he was, because I thought it was kind of annoying in the Joss Whedon cut. He goes back in time and he fixes it, and then they beat the crap out of Steppenwolf, and when they send him and his head back to Darkseid, and they're just standing there like, yeah, come get you some. And he just stands there and he just looks at him. That was an epic scene. The whole movie is amazing. It's
look,
so good.
Two things for me. Like, you're right, The Flash, because the way that they cut up the theatrical release, you didn't really get to know the Flash the way you did in this.
Right.
And you kind of see the Barry Allen that you see in the comic book because, yeah, he was a little quirky or whatever, but you see the seriousness and actually the depth of that character when he's sitting there talking about, this is the past, the present, the future's right now,
Yep.
when they're sitting there talking. And so, it was a great line from him. Now, I am a Superman fan. And when he showed up in that black suit, I about came off my couch. Like, I was like, oh, yes, And then he shows up and he catches the axe and he just kind of looks at him and you just kind of see the next level superhero that Superman is.
That line where he just stands there and he just looks up and he goes, not impressed. That was epic, dude.
God.
Oh, so good.
And then the scene you were talking about where they basically cut his head off, he goes through the boom tube and Darkseid's sitting there looking at him and you're like, yeah, they're like, yeah, come on. And then he just crushes Steppenwolf's head with his foot.
Yes.
I was like, oh, snap. I was just like, that is the baddest thing I've ever seen because it was, and I want to know if you think the same thing. Like, I was expecting it to be essentially the same movie with maybe a few added scenes and, some different music. Dude, it's a completely different movie.
It is a completely different movie. Like, a lot of the same things, like, obviously they're going out to the mother boxes, but, like, the whole thing is completely different from beginning to end. They add more depth to all the characters. Cyborg is actually a big character. The Flash is way more likable. And the ending scene, like you said, I love finally seeing the black suit in there. And then the last fight scene, completely different, amazing. And I love actually seeing Darkseid in the movie multiple times too. So it was an epic flick. And I love DC Comics. Like, I love Marvel, but I like DC a lot more.
Yeah.
And to finally see a really, really good DC movie was amazing.
It was, man. It was so great. Do you think that the success of this will kind of re-kick to hopefully see that second Justice League movie? Because, essentially the Batman, the end sequence, the dream sequence, is essentially Darkseid turned Superman and, and the whole thing, you see that war. Do you think this will re-kick all that and hopefully we get to see that down the road?
I think it will reignite more DC movies for sure. Like, I think now is the time if you want to get any DC keys, get them now before they're announced. I don't know if we're going to see a Justice League 2 movie, but at the same time, I never thought we'd actually finally get a Snyder Cut either. Like, never in my wildest dreams did I ever think that was going to happen because people were like, release a Snyder Cut for years, and we finally got it. Like, I did not think that was going to happen. I remember actually hearing about it, and I was like, they're not being serious. And, like, all the major places were talking about it, and I saw the video where he announced it. I was like, holy crap, we're finally getting that. So maybe it happens. I still don't know, but I do think we are going to get some more DC movies and DC shows. And that new Superman and Lois show on the CW is phenomenal.
It's great.
Check it out. It's amazing.
It is great, and because it's telling you about Superman from a completely different perspective as a husband and as a father.
Yep.
And it adds, because most people think Superman's boring. I don't, but a lot of people do. They find Superman boring, but it adds a layer to him that you've never really seen before, as far as I know. They have Jonathan in the books and and those things,
Sure.
but this just adds a different way, and it's really cool, man. I love it.
And my wife watches it with me, and she's not a superhero fan, and she even likes it. I remember
Same here.
In the very first episode, like, all those things fall down on them, and they're fine. And they go to commercial. My wife's like, "So does Jonathan have powers in the comic books?" I'm like, "Oh yeah."
Uh-huh.
They try to make it seem like Jonathan is the one with powers, which he still might have powers. But in the show, Jordan is the one who has powers. So
yeah, no, such a dope show, man. I mean, it really is, and it's a beautiful time for me because Superman's getting all these different things, and like I said, and you got to see, I want to see another Man of Steel movie. Like, I want to see Henry Cavill as Superman again. I mean, because he plays the real hopeful character really well, but he also plays the badass Superman really well too.
He is. I mean, when I think of Henry Cavill, like, he's Superman. Like, he's like, I don't think of any other movie. Like, he's been in a lot of other great movies, like Mission Impossible, and the Immortals movie, and a couple other really good ones. But when I think of him, he's Superman. Like a lot of other like actors that have played Superman, yeah, they're cool, but Henry Cavill is Superman to me for sure. So I really hope we get a Man of Steel 2 as well, because Man of Steel 1 and all the other movies are amazing. So I think it's more likely we'll get a Man of Steel 2 before we get a Justice League 2. But
I think you're probably right. You know, for me, Christopher Reeves has always been Superman to me.
Sure.
Just because he was my Superman when I was a kid. That was what kind of spawned the love of the character was Christopher Reeves. But now Henry Cavill is Superman to me. So I hope we get to see that too. All right. So before we finish up here, Steve, kind of tell everybody where they can find you on YouTube and Instagram and all those things.
Berk Family 54 Comics on YouTube and Instagram. I try to post about 5 to 6 times a week on YouTube. And once we get to summer, it'll probably be every single day when I'm free and available. I do unboxings. I do live streams. I do speculation videos. I do top 10 videos. I sometimes do a monthly auction as well. We have a really good time on there. I get some other friends to help me join me with live streams and recorded videos. So make sure you check me out. It's a lot of fun. And I should try to post a little bit more on Instagram as well, because I'm really active on there in the DMs, but I haven't been posting enough photos. So I'm going to try to do better at that.
Cool. So, guys, go check Steve out over at Berk Family 54. It's a great channel. Like I said, I recently joined the family. He's right. The chat is off the chain. It is crazy, but a lot of great information. It's a lot of fun. It always provides me a good laugh every day. So go over, find out how to be a member of the family, and join today. Because I mean, like I said, I sound like I work for Steve, but I'm just telling you, it was a good decision for me, because I've really enjoyed what I've gotten since I became a member. So definitely go over and check that out. Also find out how you can get his variant comic book. I know he's got a few left, not in the 9.8 grades, but I think you said what, in like the 9.92s?
Yeah, 9.0 to 9.4, somewhere in there. So average about 9.2. I have a couple left. But if you want a 9.8 candidate, make sure you head over to 616comics.com or joel'sartcollectibles.com as well. They have a bunch of those available to you as well.
Yeah, because that's a badass book. I mean, that's really cool. But definitely go. I'll put all Steve's stuff down in the description below so that you can easily go find him. And like I said, join the Berk Family 54, baby. It's a good time. So, guys, that's 10 questions this week. I appreciate you guys. One last thing for me is I'm always going to drop this at the end of the video. Go over to Street Level Hero LA. Use the code STC10 for 10% off your order. But the most important thing is 25% of your order will be donated to the American Cancer Society for cancer research. It's a really important cause for me, and I hope you guys will go over there and take advantage of that limited time offer. So, all right, guys, that's 10 questions with our guy, Steve, from Berk Family 54.